Thank you for tuning in to Stoney Raw. It's been a while since I did a video, but I figured tonight, rainy night, would be a good night. I won't go through a recap of all the videos. All I would say is go back, watch videos to catch you up with what's going on. One thing I will say is, as I do these videos, as it says, it's Stoney Raw. It's unrehearsed. I don't cut it. I don't edit it. It's just kind of thrown out there in a raw format. So, apologize if it's sketchy at times. The other thing is the timeline that I'm putting together, it's somewhat accurate. It's off by a year or two. Some things happened, pretty quickly. Some things happened, as I remember them in maybe a different time. So, doing my best to keep it as accurate as possible, but it's challenging when I'm going back to, I'm 52 years old and I'm going back to when I'm 8 and 9 years old trying to remember what happened. So, I'm sure I've burned a few brain cells over the years. So, just trying to do my best to remember. So, where are we? I'm about 8 or 9 years old. The last video, it was titled Roger Meager. Now you can see where the Meager comes from. And Stoney Meager, it comes from Roger Meager. We moved back to California. Mom got remarried, and now I've got another stepfather. So now I'm on dad number 3. So this is where we are. That leads us up to my next video. Will be titled Robin and Russell. So Robin and Russell. Who are Robin and Russell? A lot of you guys that know me know Russell is my stepbrother, and Robin would be my stepsister. So the year was about 1975, 76, somewhere in that time period. We were living upstairs in an apartment on Winchester, and now that Robin and Russell are coming to live with us, we moved downstairs to a bigger place. So obviously, Roger was married before, had children there, I believe. He had 5 children from a previous wife. And when he marries my mom, we had now a blended family. And Robin and Russell move in with us. And this is when I first meet my half-brother, or I should say stepbrother, stepsister. And so now, we have a nice little blended family. We got these 2 redheaded kids. Russell had more freckles than I can remember or that I could even count. And this little Mexican boy. So very interesting dynamics in our family. So a few things in that time period, in this time that we lived downstairs at Winchester in an apartment. I know that area now is not the greatest. You go through there, it's pretty shady. Looking back, it probably was just as bad back then as it is today. Maybe, it's gotten a little worse, but I don't think it's gotten any better. But, not knowing it at the time as a child, I thought it was a great neighborhood. I didn't know we were in a bad neighborhood. But I wrote some notes down, and, that's why I keep looking at the screen to see my notes. So, we moved downstairs. A few things I remember is, now I've got an older brother. Up until this point, I'm the older brother. I got a younger brother, but I don't know where he's at. I don't see him. So I had a brother for a little bit, and then he's gone. And now all of a sudden, I get not a younger brother, but I get an older brother and a sister that I didn't have. I don't have a lot of memory of Robin at that time. I do know that my mom and her didn't really get along very much. Russell's pretty cool. He just chilled. Russ was, he seemed to get along with everybody and just wanted to kind of make it work. And some of the things I remember about Russ in that time was he was a badass on a bicycle. I remember, in the neighborhood, riding bikes and what have you. And, back then, nobody was doing backflips and aerial things and jumping off, 10,000 foot buildings with their bicycles. We got garbage cans and we had ramps and bricks and made jumps. And and Russ was the leader of that stuff. You know, it's kind of a thing you're going to see as this trends through, is this leadership thing that comes up. You know, Roger, I'm going to start just saying my dad, because that's what he is to me. My dad, you know, seemed to be an authority figure of some sort. I don't know why, but he just carried himself in such a way. And I see that with Russ. You know, there's a lot of traits that Russ has that are along the same as my dad's. And over the years, I've picked up some of those traits as well. But Russ was a badass on a bicycle, you know, and kids wanted to follow him. They wanted to be like him. I remember jumping, you know, making jumps and seeing how many garbage cans you can jump over, or how many kids you can jump over. And, you know, that we didn't have helmets or pads or what have you. You just got on a bike, you did it, and, you know, you fell, you got hurt. If you didn't fall, you were cool. But if you got really hurt, you were really cool. So it was a good time. It was fun. I remember that, hanging out with Russ, trying to be like him on a bicycle, and was nowhere near. You know, Russ could ride a wheelie around the block. I mean, just keep going around. I mean, he just was amazing. A few things that happened in this time period was, we had a fire next door, in an apartment complex. I remember the fire. I remember being evacuated out of the building. Maybe that's why I have this fascination with fire. Oh, no, that happened actually earlier. So, you know, I guess I already had some fire bug in me at that point, but the place next door burned down. I remember there was everybody telling, you know, we were outside playing. The cops came through telling everybody, get in the house. And, you know, we just run to get in the house, and there was a naked man running through the neighborhood, just flopping around. I remember, I think we were looking out the bedroom window, and they're jumping over the fence, and you see this naked guy flying over the fence, balls and all, and just doing his thing. And I remember, I remember the naked man, running through the neighborhood. I remember taking my mom's 410 shotgun out of the house for something. I don't know if I was getting in a fight with a kid, but I remember taking the gun out, and Russ, you know, stopping me or coming after me like, what the hell are you doing? So at an early age, Russ became the protector, you know, so kind of this will kind of look going further, you know, as things come out. But going back to this time now that I'm older, I reflect on not knowing it at that time, but I kind of, you know, it all makes sense now. But Russ was kind of the protector. He would watch from afar, but he would, you know, if it got down to it, he was there to protect me. I remember, I think it was in this time period where we, you know, again, everybody played outside. We didn't have Nintendo and all these video games, so we would go find things, and I don't know, we were playing cops and robbers or what have you. And I remember I had this 2x4 as my gun or my weapon of some sort. And whatever we were doing to play, I remember throwing the 2x4 over the fence on top of some guy's car that, if I remember correctly, had just got it painted. So now I'm in trouble. Now, you know, we go from, that's the first time I really remember being in trouble with Roger. There might have been other times, but this is one that kind of sticks out. Up until that point, it was, you know, here's this new guy, he's loving, caring, you know, puts my mom on a pedestal, just buys me all these toys, gives me all this attention I never had. And now I'm in trouble. Now I'm facing, you know, the other side of my dad, which was very strict. So I remember getting in trouble for damaging this guy's car. I also have a remember of getting in a fight with one of the neighbor kids, and again, Russell's there, and what was there is, you know, some older brothers are going to jump in and stop it. Russell would just stand back and not, you know, push it, not condone it. He was just there to, in case something happened, he would be there to support me, and, you know, maybe egg me on a little bit to do something. But I remember this still to this day of this kid's picking on me, and I'm trying to not, you know, I'm not very confrontational, and I just remember this kid picking on me. And my brother was there, you know, Russ is there telling me, well, do something, what are you going to do? And was kind of just there to, you know, don't back down. I remember getting into, you know, I'm 8, 9 years old at this time. I remember getting in a fist fight with this kid, and we were wrestling around. And I remember getting him on the ground, pinned him on the ground, and basically grabbed his hair and just started jamming it into the concrete. So now this goes from not just a fight, but it comes into, oh my God, I'm going to kill this kid. Um, Russell then jumped in and broke the fight up. And then, what are you doing? You trying to kill him? And I just remember saying, yes. And so now I'm in trouble again, for getting in a fight, for trying to kill a kid at an early age. And I realized that I have a trigger. I try to be passive, try to just, get along and not be confrontational. But when you push to that limit where that trigger happens, it's like I see red. It's tunnel vision. I block everything out, and it's hard to stop me when I get into that mode. So that's the first time I remember being into that mode. And again, this is kind of an important thing because you'll see a little bit of this as we go forward, and a few things that I see kind of developed who I am. Again, at this time period, I meet my dad. He treats my mom very different than any man that I ever saw before. Treat her, he's a very loving, very caring, very giving, opening the door for her type of thing, pulling the chair out type of thing. A lot of physical touch, and I don't mean that in a weird way. I mean that in hugs and kisses and holding hands and just sitting on the couch and touching her hand and just little things I used to watch and pick up, and I see how I picked up a lot of those traits, and how I am, and the way I am even today. I can trace back to spitting on myself. Great. I can trace back to that time period of meeting Roger, seeing how he treats my mom. That left a huge impression on me as far as how to treat women. To this day, there's things that I still pick up from him, but my dad was this kind of authority figure in many aspects of what I remember of him growing up, and this is the start of it. This is the start of being that father figure, being that authority figure, and he was the guy. I remember calling him dad pretty quickly. I don't ever remember a point where I ever called him Roger. I'm assuming the first time I met him or the first few days or weeks, but I remember calling him dad pretty quickly, and that's kind of where we are. I'd like to keep these things about 10-15 minutes, but this is where I meet my brothers and sister, Robin and Russell. There are other siblings from my dad that are Russ's brothers and sisters. There's Michael, there's Kevin, there's Trisha. All of them were pretty much grown and out of the house by the time all of this unfolded. So my dad does have 3 other kids that I don't grow up with. I don't really get to know. Over the years, I've met them. We've done a few things here and there, but it was mainly family events. But I don't have that bond with them that I have with Russell as of today. So here it is, this new kid that, didn't know him the year before. Now all of a sudden it's my older brother. And this is going to be an important thing as well as we go through this, is understanding that connection. About 9 years old, 8 or 9 years old, somewhere in that time period of having Russell come into my life. I believe he's about 5 years older than I am. If I have the math right, maybe 7. I don't know. It's somewhere in there. He's older, and I looked up to him quite a bit. I still do to this day, but this is now starting to form kind of a few things going on. But seeing moving from upstairs to downstairs, and I'm going to end this with us moving again. There's still not a lot of stability yet. There's still a lot of movement going on. Friends in your life, friends out of your life, meeting new people. So there's just a lot of dynamics of people in and out of your life for short periods of time. And the only thing that's ever been stable is my mom. She's the only thing that's been there the whole time. And up until a point, but you'll see, you know, as this is here, is my mom has always been there. I should say my mom is always there, but we'll see how that plays out. There's more to that story, but my mom has been the person there the whole time, even though these men have come in and out of my life, and now I've got a brother and sister that are in my life. So thanks for watching Stoney Raw. There's a lot more to come. We're starting to get into, you know, a little bit later in life, and you know, I tell these stories to kind of to build on, to have people understand me, understand where I come from, understand, you know, kind of why I am who I am. And the biggest thing I want people to get out of this is that hopefully they're going to take something away and learn from this as you watch all of these videos and you see the progression and you see my childhood and things that I've had to deal with, overcome, be part of, and see where I am today and see how, you know, you can make some choices here. But I think at this age, 8, 9 years old, I'm not making, you know, a lot of choices as far as how I am. These are things that are going on in my life that helped form who I am. At this point, I don't think I'm making a lot of decisions. You know, I'm a child. You know, my decision is, you know, who am I going to go play with next, and when am I going to get my next toy, or, you know, I'm sure I wasn't thinking about any life things going on. So, but these stories I tell, hopefully will help you understand my decision making as you know, time goes on. So that's about it. Thanks for watching my video, Robin and Russell, and I hope you tune in for the future ones, and you guys have a great night. Thank you.